Hello, and welcome to this video where you will learn how to add the McAfee ePolicy Orchestrator as a device to the McAfee SIM. The first thing we'll do is create an EPO user account with limited permissions for the SIM to use for tagging. We'll do this within the EPO console. Our first step is to create a SQL service account for use with our McAfee SIM. Let's go ahead and open up SQL Management Studio, and we'll go ahead and log in. After SQL Management Studio is open, we'll go ahead and expand out the security section and right-click on Logins. Then we'll select New Login. We'll give this account a name such as SVC_McAfee SIM, and we'll change it to SQL Authentication, and we'll disable the enforced password policy. We'll also just choose a password for this account. Next, we'll click on the user mapping section and select our database and make sure that we enable the DB creator role. After that, we can just click OK and close out of the SQL Management Studio. Let's log into the EPO console now. After we log in, click on Menu, Permission Sets. Now let's create a new permission set. Click on Actions, New. We'll call this permission set McAfee SIM, and after you're done typing in the title, go ahead and click Save. Now, let's add the required permissions for this SIM account to work properly. Scroll down to the Systems section and click Edit to the far right. Now put a check next to Wake Up Agents, View Agent Activity Log, and Apply, Exclude, and Clear tags. Now click Save. Great! Now we have the permission set created. Let's create a user and assign it to this permission set. Click on Menu, then Users. In the bottom left, click on New User. Let's give this account the name SIM_SVC. We can leave the logon status enabled. For the EPO Authentication Radio button, go ahead and select the password for this user. You'll need to remember this password for later though. Now, let's scroll to the very bottom. Check the McAfee SIM permission set that we have just created and click Save. We can leave everything else blank. Now that we have the user account created, we can go to the McAfee SIM console and start setting up the EPO as a data source. To add a new data source, first, just log into your SIM console. In the system tree on the left-hand side of the console, click on the physical display. Now, just click on the Add Device icon in the top left corner. This will pop up a new window. Choose the device McAfee ePolicy Orchestrator and click Next. The next field will allow us to provide a name for this device. This displays how this will appear in the SIM console, and you can pick any name you want, but you'd probably want to go with something like McAfee EPO. On the next screen, you can select the receiver, which would probably be one of the receivers near the McAfee EPO server. Enter the IP address of your EPO server in the Application IP Address section and add the port number. This is the port number that is after the colon when you log into the EPO server via a web browser. It will probably be something like 8443 unless you've changed it from the default. Enter the SIM_SVC username that we had just created, and then enter the password for that account. Click on the Require User Authentication checkbox. Now test the connection by clicking on the Connect button. After the test is successful, click Close and then click Next. On this screen, we'll need to enter the information for the EPO database. Luckily for us, this information can be easily found on your EPO server if you go to the Core Config page. Let's go back to your EPO server. In your address bar, you should have the address of your EPO server plus the port number. After the port number, put in /core/config, and that should bring you to a new page with the database information. You can just enter this information into the SIM console. The IP address might already be entered, but if it's not, go ahead and enter it. Next, enter the port number in the database port section if it's different than what's already there. Now enter the username and password that we had created earlier. And finally, enter the database name and the database instance. When all that information is entered into EPO, click on the Connect button to test your connection. After the connection is tested successfully, click Close and then Next. It will begin to add the EPO server. You can enable Risk Advisor for this device to gain additional information. After the EPO device is successfully added, you can click Finish. Now, let's see if we are receiving events. To see events specifically coming from our EPO server, we just need to select our newly created McAfee EPO server in the system tree. After it is selected, click on the Get Events and Flow icon in the top left corner of the console. That will open up the Get Events and Flows windows. Just click on the Start button and the ESM will start downloading events. When it's done, it will tell you how many events were downloaded. Go ahead and click Close. Now click on the refresh icon in the top middle of the SIM console. This will update the dashboard and now you can see the EPO events in the SIM console. So that's it. You have just successfully added the McAfee EPO server as a device.